what's your take on all of this? You know, I mean, we're talking about the potential for a contested convention. Here we are Monday morning talking about now Cruz and Kasich coming to an agreement. Look, you stay out of my way in Indiana, I'll stay out of your way in Oregon. We will take Trump down. Your thoughts on this strategy?
Well, I think it's a pretty good strategy. The best strategy would be that Kasich get out of the race altogether so that the voter has a clear choice between Trump and Cruz, who one of those two are going to be the nominee. But having said that, I think in practice this strategy has been going on, but now it's come out yesterday that it's more formal. If you're going to stop Trump, then it makes sense for you to put all your resources in those states where you have a chance to win more delegates.
Congressman, look at the delegate count so far. Donald Trump with 845 delegates. If he comes and gets to July and he's got, what, Arthur Aidala just said 1,150, let's say, more than 1,100, is there a magic number that Trump gets to that he cannot be stopped, that there will be just too much pushback from voters, even though it's not the official 1,237, the 1,237? Can he get to the nomination without getting 1,237, I guess, is the question.
Well, yes, he can. There is a way to get there, but he can be stopped at the same time. This is going to be really, really tight.
Yeah.
He's got about 845 delegates, but there's 951 delegates that have voted for somebody other that are pledged to somebody other than Trump. So Trump is not at that threshold. And those people that are claiming he's the presumptive nominee are just wrong. This is a very unusual race. It's going to go right down to the wire, and it's going to go right down to June the 7th.
Wow. June 7th, meaning California.
Meaning California.
Yeah.
And California, you just can't take a statewide poll. As you know, California is congressional district by congressional district, as New York was, and frankly, Pennsylvania is. So Trump and Kasich and Cruz have all kinds of opportunities to make things different. The only thing I think is going on here right now is people are wanting to jump on the bandwagon of the winner. And I think Cruz and Kasich are fighting against that headwind.
Arthur Aidala.
Mr. DeLay, but isn't it true if he got that close, if Trump gets that close, isn't it true before the convention even started, there would be all kinds of maneuvering with other candidates besides the three we're talking about who have delegates, and say, listen, you know, whether it's Marco Rubio or Ben Carson, and say, listen, I need a couple here, I need a couple there, that'll get me that close, and in exchange for your votes, isn't that what happened like Adlai Stevenson and Gerald Ford? Didn't he give him the delegates and he became the vice presidential nominee?
Well, I got to tell you, that's the system. That's the process. You may not like it. I particularly don't like the fact that someone that doesn't get a majority ends up being the nominee. That happened with McCain. Frankly, it happened with Romney. I call them the 30% candidates. They win 30% of a state and they get all the delegates. I'm really enjoying this because people are being able to get involved in the process, and people are working in these campaigns, and it's creating a great excitement that helps you as you go into the general election. But this notion that if you got the most votes, and frankly, Trump only has 40% of the total votes that have been cast so far.
That's true.
60% are against him. This whole notion if you get close, you get the nomination. We got to keep the honored tradition of a majority. A majority wins.
Congressman, you say you're really enjoying this, but how worried are you at this point that whomever the candidate is after this process is going to be so damaged that he is going to have a very hard time running against the Democratic candidate?
Well, at this point in time, in every presidential race, in every nominating process, people start saying that. They're saying that now about Hillary getting damaged. All of that goes away once the conventions are over and you get head-to-head Democrat against Republican, Hillary against the Republican,
right.
And people start coming together. So I don't have any worry whatsoever about that.
Can you
this
come
is
together?
a nominating
Can you come
process.
together for Donald Trump? You're fully behind him if he wins these primaries?
Well, it depends on what Donald Trump does after the convention if he's the nominee. If he continues to be a liberal and not a conservative and wants to change his position on life, on taxes, I mean, no, I can't support him. But if he continues, if he shifts to a more conservative position, then maybe I can support him.
Yeah.
You want to support someone whose positions are going to shift around like that?
Well, I may not have a choice. Hillary's position shifts around like that.
So you're basically saying then you will support the nominee, whoever it is, or you're watching to see if Donald Trump changes his spots before you actually get on the ballot?
If Donald Trump is the nominee, he's going to have to convince me he can make a good president. Right now, I don't believe that.
Okay. Let me get your take, Representative, on the reaction to President Obama this morning. He just announced that the U.S. will send an additional 250 special ops to Syria, boots on the ground, to help stop ISIS.
Well, my biggest concern is he's putting 250 special ops in harm's way. I'm very worried about their safety, and they're
so you don't want any more boots on the ground?
Oh, I want more boots on the ground. 250 may just be putting them in harm's way and not giving them a chance to do it. The
so you're saying it's a bad strategy?
Come out. No, the president should say, we're going to win this, we're going to wipe them out, and we're going to do whatever it takes to do that. This piecemeal strategy is just putting our service people and our military in jeopardy. We got to understand that we are at war, and we ought to treat it like a war and go clean them out.
Joe.
Congressman DeLay, if you're not able to support Donald Trump necessarily, is there a vice presidential candidate or a pick who would actually allow you to support a ticket that looks increasingly likely at this point? Who would that be?
I haven't thought about that, to be honest with you. Rubio would make me happy. But still, it's the president. We all know that vice president is not the president.
Yeah,
and I can't be fooled by that.
Well, people don't normally vote for vice presidents. I mean, that's a fact, right? But if, in fact, the ticket changes, I mean, I think it's the right question, Joe, because if you see a change in the ticket where it's Trump and Rubio, who was your guy initially, would you support that ticket?
If it's Trump and Rubio, again, I come back to my premise. Trump has to prove to me that he can be president. Okay. Yeah, he hasn't yet. That's for sure.
Congressman, good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much.